Good evening. Hello again. And first of all, sorry about earlier. I'd like to say I've got absolutely no idea what happened there, but unfortunately I've got a pretty good idea what happened, and it was user error. So apologies to keeping you all hanging there because I forgot to press a button. Anyway, that's that. Sorry. So three things to come of that. First of all, I get to rehearse, so this one's going to be better. Secondly, I get to pop this on my YouTube channel, so like and subscribe. And thirdly, reduced performance anxiety, which is always a good thing. So let's talk about the UCAS application for you. This is the UCAS hub with which you should already be largely familiar. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to take you through a few of the things on here that will hopefully help you. So this is a little video that I put together earlier that I went through. Now you should all be applying for 2022. Even if you're going in 2023, we're going through 2022. You're all going in as an undergraduate. There's no postgraduates out there. And notice down there you've got apprenticeships and conservatoires, which are both accessible through this particular portal. The conservatoire thing doesn't open until July the 15th, if I remember correctly. But you know, you're all pretty much up to this particular point. The reason why I wanted to do this was for those who hadn't got to the buzzword bit. You just follow all of the prompts, and it takes you through all of this. This postcode here, you probably won't be able to see it. It's NWA 8PM. That's not where I live. I just put that one in so you didn't come around my house. I used to live there. It's very nice. But anyway, that's another story entirely. All of this is not part of the application proper, but it will help you use and navigate your way through the UCAS hub. So this is all just the preliminaries. This is the amuse-bouche. Really, before we get into the real thing. Now down here is where it gets interesting. Now you have to, now you need to put in this bit. Get the right support. Are you still at school? Well, yes, you are. And so your school there is Stowe School. That will start the process that drives you through into the application proper. And if you haven't put in the buzzword, that's because you haven't gone through that particular bit yet. So here we go. We pick up Stowe School. We create the account. It now takes you back to the UCAS hub, and you hit the big start button, and the process starts for real. All of this stuff out there, huge amount of resources. I'm going to talk in a little while about the difference between this particular resource and all the stuff that we've got on Unifrog. One particular difference, and it's to do with the grades. But yeah, huge amount of resources in terms of online stuff, and indeed it got lots of information about the dates. Right, so you could be applying to the conservatoire, but we're all going undergraduate at this point. Again, that's for musicians. And here we go. Are you applying from the school? Yes, you are. Okay, and the school is Stowe, so in it goes there, Stoic 2022, and that means you are now going to be on our systems, or more specifically, on my system. So there we go. Going into your group, let's just pause here for a second. All of the groups are listed down there. You don't need to worry about the second group. So over here, we've got CSB, GDJW, CSB Oxbridge. Now, it should be fairly evident that if you're in Mr. Bray's group and you're going to Oxbridge, then you put yourself into that particular group. If you're making a normal application, not through Oxbridge, then you're just Mr. Bray, open brackets, Dr. West. And the same really for our medics there, JMC, Oxbridge Medic Vet. If you're making an application there, just put yourself in that particular group. You don't need to worry about it. It just helps us manage things a little more readily. And if you do put yourself into the wrong group, it's not the end of the world. I can move you around and make sure that you wind up in the right place. Okay, so yes, that's your groups. Most of you have managed to get yourselves into the right groups, and again, I can move you if you're in the wrong one. So this is all just management on our side. Get yourself into the right groups, and so that's your tutor, and don't worry about the second bit, that's our problem. And in we go. So there we go. I've now put myself into that particular group. Now, the point here is that this is the UCAS hub. This is where everything starts. But we're really focusing on this bit here. So personal details, all of this, these are the areas that we want you to be looking at right now. If you want to go on and start making a start on your personal statement, fantastic. If you want to start making choices, brilliant, that's great. What I want is this done. I want all of this lot done before half term, okay? Because once this is done, we never have to worry about it ever again. And we can just worry about the next phase, which is helping you make the best possible application to the right university and the right course. That's what we want to do. We want this done so I can stop banging on about it, because if it's boring for you, imagine how boring it is for me and the tutors who have to go through it so many thousands of times. Right, so now we go into the personal data, and this is all very, very straightforward. In fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move away from the video and I'm going to go to Bert's particular thing here, and we're just going to go through this. Now, actually, I'm just going to take that one back. Straight away, you can see there that this particular applicant is 55% way through that particular progress. Again, all of this stuff here, this is background, this is all useful information, but this is here is what we're interested in, your application, and you know, that's 55% through. So let's have a look at what a 55% through application is. So we go straight in here and we can see where we're going. We've made no choices. The profile bit is 67%. I want that finished. That's the bit we want finished by half term. And the personal statement obviously not started yet. Now I can see all of this data from a macro level. Your tutors can see this data from a macro level. So we know where you are, and we'll be keeping a very gentle and loving eye on you as we go through it. So adding choices, well, we could go into that right now, but I'm not going to do that, okay, because that's downstream. We'll just back out of that and we'll look instead at my profile. Right, so start this section. You can see that it's not ticked, so there are things here I have to fill in. I have to fill in my, actually, so it's a Dr. Bertfeg is my nom de plume. So this is all very, very, very straightforward. Date of birth, you just chuck that one in, and gender. You know, you don't. This is the easy bit. Just do it. Is really what I'm trying to say there. And then when you're done, you have to mark this section as complete. When you mark that section as complete, then what happens then is that this bit here will change color, and we're all very, very happy. That's now a tick. We can move on. We never have to go back to this ever, ever, ever again. But until you mark that as complete and you save the section, then you're not going to get that particular thing. Let's move on to contact and residency details. Right, so contact details, blah, 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 blah. Email address. Do not use your Stowe address, okay? This bit here has to be your personal, your private email address. Simply, you're more likely to check that during the holidays than you are to check your Stowe address. Okay, simple. Now, I'm exactly the same. So your Stowe address, no, but there we have to have your private email address, one that you're going to check when you're not on the school's clock. Postal address, right then. This is important. Again, if you are a boarder, if you are at school receiving your mail at school, then your postal address is Stowe School. It doesn't get easier than that. If you're a day pupil and you are getting mail sometimes at home, sometimes at school, you choose. I'm not going to be arguing about that. But boarders, your mail address has to be the school. Okay, that is non-negotiable. So just make sure you get that bit right. Now, nominated access, okay? This is someone who can act as a proxy for you when you are indisposed. So if you're hiking across Kathmandu, or if you are in the middle of the Amazonian rainforest, or if you're not making much sense in Ibiza, this is someone who is going to answer the phone and speak to the universities on your behalf, okay? So it's not me, it's not the headmaster, it's not your tutor, however strong and healthy those relationships are. This is someone who is going to pick up the phone on your behalf during the holidays and speak to the universities, all right? Not us, but somebody back home or a guardian, whoever you feel comfortable giving that role to, someone who is going to pick up the phone and deal with universities on your behalf. Residency details, is your home address the same as your postal address? Well, obviously, if you're a boarder, the answer to that is no. If it's a day pupil, if you're a day pupil, then obviously you can do that one as you like. Now, one little bit here for those of you who live in London. All right, permanent your area of permanent residence. This is kind of important downstream. If you live in the UK, you want to get that right because this is the area that supports your LEA. Pen's not going to be like that, right? Your local education authority. So my postcode here, as I put in there, is NWA8PN. If you don't know what your LEA is, then you just come up and you search it. So if we go up there and we put in, good, that's right, and then local education authority. Close enough. Hopefully that's going to come up. Local Education Authority hasn't quite worked, but it is Westminster. It's Westminster City Council. We can see down there that for NWA 8PN, you can work out eventually that the local council, basically, which is going to be handling your education at university, is going to be your area of permanent residency there. Again, it's going to be much more easy. It's much easier if you live in Buckingham. It's Buckinghamshire. If you live in Swindon, oh, poor you, it's Wiltshire. But yeah, there we go. That's your local education authority, and that becomes relevant later. And residential category, pretty straightforward there, except if you're settled in the UK. Now, this is something that's come in post-Brexit. So if you are not if you're not a UK citizen, but you are settled in the UK, then that's you. And I'm going to get some clarity exactly on the difference between EU national and settled in the UK. But I think obviously if you're an EU national, then that's you. If you're not excuse me, let me get this right. So if you're not an EU citizen, but your parents currently live in the UK without being nationalised, then that's going to be you there as settled in the UK. So if you're American or originally from Kenya or Nigeria or whatever it is, and you're settled in the UK, but you're not actually a British citizen or an EU citizen, then that would be you. Okay, and again, that may have implications down the line when we start to look at fee status, but again, the first year we run this, we'll find out what happens. And again, you've got to mark that section as complete. It's probably not going to let me do that because I've got some blanks. Oh no, there we go. Contract and residency details updated successfully, and I can now move on. You can see all of this all the way down here, changing color as we go through. So we're now into education. Now, in education, you have to add a place of education. Somebody just asked me, I was at a different school for 2 years before I came to Stoke. Do I need to put that in? Well, no, unless you got qualifications there. So you don't have to put your nursery school, you don't have to put your prep school or your primary school. And if you did 1 year somewhere else before you came over here and you did all of your GCSEs here, then we don't urgently need to know. You can put it in if you want, but what we really want to know is where did you do the exams? And so for most of you, that's going to be Stowe School. And if it's not, then put in the other school. Unique learner number, we don't have to worry about that. That's something more relevant in the maintained sector. Now, highest level of qualifications. You will have qualifications before we start this. It's not an honours degree, okay? But it is below honours degree level qualifications. Unless, of course, you, everybody here is going to be leaving with qualifications. So that's before you start the course. So even if you haven't got any GCSEs, by the time you start your course, you will have A-levels. And so what we have in there is below honours degree level qualifications. So you do have qualifications, just not honours degrees yet. Now, I can mark that section as complete. And it should be, actually no, it shouldn't be happy, because what I've got to do now is go in and add some qualifications. What are the qualifications that you have got? I should probably go back and save this. So let's just save that section. It's not telling me, it's telling me I can't do it because I haven't got any qualifications. I said I had qualifications, but I haven't entered them yet. So let's go in and add some qualifications. Now then, this is a massive improvement from you over previous years. This is a sort of fast track. These are all of the qualifications that we have here at Stowe, and a couple more perhaps besides. You need to go onto your pupil portal on iSAMS, and in there you will find all of your GCSE results and the boards and the dates. Okay, that's really, really important. We need all of those here. So most of the GCSEs that we've got are the not the double award. Most of the GCSEs we've got are GCSE with numbers, pretty straightforward. We do have international GCSEs, history, maths, and sciences. Do check, it explains exactly which ones you've got on that pupil portal. You're looking for that little I in front of the GCSE, and that is going to be your international GCSEs. AQA Level 2, Higher Project Qualification, that's the HPQ, if you've got it. The EPQ is the Extended Project, which is right over there. BTEC Extended Certificate, this is the full 2-year BTEC course, so your CMDA, your Business BTEC, your Sports Science BTEC, and the full Engineering BTEC. The BTEC Certificate, that's the half course, so that's the engineering as an elective if you're in that particular situation. And then we've got all of the music exams and LAMNA and even the Duke of Edinburgh award up there. The other one that I want to talk to before we leave is dual science. Okay, so that's the double award here. And if you go in here and you type tripod, it will bring up, or it should bring up GCSE. There we go. Combined Sciences Trilogy. Okay, Combined Sciences Trilogy. That is your dual science, and it will ask you here for I can't remember off the top of my head what the awarding organisation is, but the grade. Okay, it's going to be these two numbers here. So Combined Sciences Trilogy. Just type in trilogy, not tripod. Sorry. Something else entirely, and put all of those details in. Of course, most of you will be doing qualifications last year, so that's 2020. Just need to keep track of these things. So let's back out of there, and we'll come back to the Add Qualification section. Yep, so LAMNA, music qualification. Again, if you've got grade 6, 7, 8, 9, grade 6, 7, 8 piano, just grade 8. It's kind of obvious you've got the other ones, so don't worry about those. And I think that's it. Now, if there is something out there that's not there, and this search engine gets better every year. So if you've got something you can't find it, just type it in there, and suddenly a lot of foreign qualifications will also, foreign, non-UK qualifications will also come up there. And so you can put all of those in. If I could think of one now, but I can't because it's 20 to 10, then you can just pop those in and all will be well. Let's move on to employment. Not massively important. You just add your employment in here and you type it in. And is this going to be material to the outcome of your success? Not really. But if there's something that you want to refer to in your personal statement, then this will save you typing out a huge amount of detail in the personal statement, because words are very, very precious in your personal statement. So if there's something that you're particularly proud of in terms of your employment, put that in here, and then you can refer to it in your personal statement without having to go into a huge amount of details about what it was that you did or who it was you did, and instead focus on what it was that you did and what you learned from that particular experience. So that's employment. Let's go on to nationality. Now, again, for most of you, this is going to be incredibly simple because most of you will be applying as British nationals. And if you're a British national, then it's very, very, very straightforward. You just tick all of this and move on and forget about it. However, if you're not a British national, so if, for instance, you are applying from, I'm going to pick this one because I know there's we occasionally have somebody here, then you need to start filling out a bit more detail. So date of first entry into the UK, obviously your nationality. So let's stay with the time model. And they will ask you whether or not you need a visa to come into the UK. You will know, presumably, because you've already got one. If that's yes, then obviously you need to put in those details. And if it's yes on that, then also you need to put in those details. So please just fill that out as best you can. And any problems, let me know, and we will walk you through the process. But again, for the vast majority of our students, it's going to be a straightforward British thing, and there we go. Maybe, yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so again, make sure you save all the way through, and life gets easier for you. Lots of green there. Right, so have you ever lived or worked in the UK? Just fill this one out. We'll worry about the details later. There's nothing really here that should knock on and have any sort of material impact on your application. So nothing really changes there. I'm not entirely sure why they're collecting that information, to be absolutely honest. And if you've got a line that says I'd rather not say, then clearly it's not that important. I don't know. Again, this is new this year, so we're working our way through it. Now, in terms of disability, you've got all of these things here. Now, if you tick on one of these, it's not going to have any impact on your application. So you perfectly happily tick one of those. That is not going to have any sort of sway when it comes to whether or not you get a seat on this bus or that bus, okay? What it might do, however, is it might make things easier to get the support that you need when you get to university. So don't think that if you pick up here and say that you have got, a severe mental order, that they're going, oh my God, no, we're not touching that. Absolutely not. They can't do that, okay? This is really just about the provision and the help that you get once you get there, all right? So you're not going to be disadvantaged by by detailing any sort of condition here, but it might make the provision of help easier when you get there. I'm repeating myself. I'm going to move on. Okay, so let's mark that one's complete, and again we can move on to language skills. What's the problem there? Save this. I didn't save the section, stupid boy. Right, move on. It does look after you all the way through this. You're not going to lose too much information. Again, is English your first language? Yes, fine. No one ever needs to worry about anything else. However, if it's not, then they're going to ask for your TEFL number or your IELTS. Again, universities need this, and so if you apply without a GCSE English from a foreign country without GCSE English, they might very well challenge you on this and ask you for those details. Again, just work your way through it. It's all very, very straightforward. Save the section. Move on to finance and funding. Okay, right. UK, Channel Islands, Isle of Man or EU, so that's going to be almost all of you, okay? If you live in the UK, if you've got settled status in the UK, if your parents have lived in the EU or in the UK for the last 3 years, they've been paying tax, they've been doing all of that, that's what you get, all right? The state is going to fund a big chunk of your education, right? I know we're all at a private school, and I know that a lot of you will be going to university and you won't have to worry about student grants, or taking out loans, whatever. Okay, that is not relevant. If you live in the UK, if you've had settled status in the UK, if you've lived in the EU for 3 years to this point, then you are eligible for state-assisted funding. Okay, that's it. If you want to go in and pray for yourself, fine. I'm not going to stop you, all right? But most people will do all they can to try to avoid this because the numbers are significantly bigger. And those of you who are applying from outside the EU, whether that's Eastern Europe or Southern Asia or Southeast Asia or the United States or Africa, you're going to know just how big those numbers are. So if you're applying from the UK, then, or indeed even the Isle of Man or the EU, that's what you get. The state is going to pay a big chunk of your education, and enjoy that, make the most of it, and feel free to reimburse me later. So student support arrangements. I said earlier that the LEA was going to be important. Now, if you remember, I was applying from Penfold Street, just sort of between Marylebone and St John's Wood, and that came into Westminster. So in this bit here, I would put in Westminster. This again is your LEA. So you can see there, big places, Southampton, South Gloucestershire, Somerset, you will be able to work this out. This is your local education authority. They are the ones who are going to manage that money that I was just talking about, the state paying the university, that comes through your LEA. And yeah, here it is here. So I did say Westminster, didn't I, last time around? So there it goes. Westminster is going to be taking care of my fees when I go of the bulk of my fees. Yes, you'll still have to pay $9,000. Yes, you're still going to have to pick up your bar tab. But trust me, if you're going through private finance, the numbers are going to be significantly bigger. And so, if that help is on offer, then I strongly urge that you take it. Simple as that. So there we go. We're going to mark that section as complete. Going to move to diversity and inclusion. Again, nothing here is going to be pertinent to the success or the failure of your application with one particular caveat, all right? So ethnic origin, religion or belief, all of this is entirely up to you. Complete it or not as you see fit. However, this is the one bit that is potentially pertinent to your application. Now, we don't have many people applying from Stoke who have been in care, but we have some. And if you have been in care, you are part of that widening access agenda. So if you've been in care, then you have the potential, if you want to indicate that here. And that means that your application goes through a special shoot. Again, very, very few people at this school, which is what it is. But it's there in case you need to use it. Also here, parental education. This is again part of the widening access agenda. So if your parents were didn't go to university themselves, that again puts you in a slightly different bucket, and you can indicate that there, and that will take you off in a particular direction. This is widening access. Again, not something that would normally happen here at Stowe, but there are people for whom this is relevant and it can be helpful. Occupational background, well, you do have to put something in there. So whatever that is, you get the options there, or if you wanted to go down banker, I suppose you could do that as well. Didn't mean to do that. I'm there. Banker, there we go. Mark that section as complete, and off we trot. So you'll see there that this side of the equation here is now pretty green, with the exception of education, because I haven't put my qualifications in. We now get to the big one. We get to the personal statement, and now it's over to you. Now, as we can see here, you have got 4,000 characters. Somebody said they had 4,000 words. Oh no, it's 4,000 characters. Watch that number fall as we put them in. Oh great, that really wasn't supposed to happen. Live TV, I'll fix this in post. Right, so I've used 0 lines, and I'm not right. So there we go, 4,000 characters. 4,000 characters, not very much. I'll show you exactly what that looks like in a minute. But that's the personal statement. That's for you to start, okay? By all means, start it there. You might want to start it actually in Unifrog, where they got some very, very useful things to help you build it. But what I really want is all of this bit here to be in green, with the exception of that personal statement by half term. That's what we're aiming for here. We want all of this done so we can crack on with the tricky stuff, like the personal statement, in the remainder of term. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming up. This is the Stoke Timeline. We've already seen this. I went through this again with your parents, which is why we start with the Ask Me Anything. Now, we're through this. We're up to this point here. This is the 24th of May when we got that. Now look at this, 28th of May, that's half term. I want all of that stuff done. If that stuff is not done, then basically I'm going to be running daily detentions when you'll be in until it is done. Now, get it right, okay? Because not getting it right is just a waste of your time and everybody else's time. Talk to your tutors, talk to me if you've got any questions, but let's just get this knocked out so that we can concentrate on the tricky stuff. And that really is going to start taking, speeding up as we get through the end of year exams and we move into Futures Week and Careers Week, more of which in a bit. Now that is November exit, the second exit. I want all of these UCAS forms gone. every single last one of them, okay? There is nothing to be gained from hanging on and hoping that something's going to change. It's not going to change. Get this application with the universities as soon as you possibly can, and that will work to your benefit. We've seen anecdotal evidence suggesting that some universities like those early applications, and so you gain nothing from waiting. So let's get those done. It just consumes everybody's time and energy. We don't want that to happen. So research resources, I mentioned earlier, we're going to look at this. We've obviously talked about this already. UCAS Hub, incredibly powerful, and the rest of this is geared towards the UCAS Hub, because I was showing your parents it. The difference between UCAS Hub and Unifrog is one thing, really. These ones have got the grades. These ones don't really have the grades. So if you want to know what you're going to need to get to a particular university, then this is probably the one to go for. But use them both, particularly because there's some very good resources, there's good events on the UCAS Hub. So both of them are there. We pay for this one, well, you pay for that one, and it's all good. Just a little bit there about the UCAS Hub. It's all pretty familiar to those of you who've gone in there and kicked it around. What we're aiming for, okay, is you to come up with, you've done that bit, good, so we're looking for 5 choices. So you're going to pick 5 courses, okay, 5 courses. They may be at different universities, the chances are they will be at different universities. You could have 2 courses at the same university, it doesn't really matter. But you're picking 5 courses that you want to go on. Now, if you're applying to read medicine or veterinary science or dentistry, you can only pick 4 of those. The 5th has to come from a different subject. So if you're applying to read medicine, that 5th one might be biomedical science or neurology or physiotherapy or something along those lines. But that's your emergency chute in case everything else goes sideways. But 5 choices in the main, 4 for your medical applications, and that's that. Now you do need to pay, as I mentioned earlier. There's an amount there. It's not massive, but you will need to pay, and so you need some way of paying it. You should all have cards at this point. I have no doubt you've all got debit cards, maybe some of you got credit cards, but this is going to be paid for on your ticket. So if you don't have a card, please contact your parents and make sure that they can pay this for you at the appropriate time. So the providers can't see where else you're applying. There's a subtle game to play if you are making an application to somewhere like the LSE, but not Oxford, but we'll worry about that later. The important thing there is you don't have to worry about the order in which you put your choices, because the universities won't see that. They just see that you've applied to them. And then this time next year, you'll be taking what are hopefully 5 decisions from universities, 5 decisions saying, yes, we'd love to have you. And then of those 5, you're going to pare it down to 2. And that's going to be your firm choice and your insurance choice. And there will be a grade differential between those 2. Obviously, we want you all to go to your firm choice. But if things do go south, then obviously it's nice to have that insurance. That means that you don't have to go wading into clearing. Although clearing isn't quite what it was, certainly when I was at university, or even what it was 5 years ago. Many people now look to clearing to get the course that they want. Although, pandemic, death plague, you may decide that actually you want to go into this much more secure in your likely destination. Okay, so what's in the application? We've talked about the personal details, we've talked about the choices. Personal statement I'm going to talk about in a little while, and then once I've done that, I'm going to touch upon the school reference. Let's get into the personal details. Well, no, not really. I did this for your parents. And choices, there we go. You pick 5 of those. Choosing the right course. I think this should be evident by now that the course leads the university, but university is also important. Don't feel that you have to apply to a Russell Group. The Russell Group may not be the right place for you, and it's much more important that you come out of university with a good, strong degree than you come out with a 3rd from Reading. Okay, so let's think about the degree first and the university second. That's what we want here. We want you coming out and being competitive in whichever market you choose, because you've got a really, really good degree rather than a Douglas Hurd from somewhere down this food chain at the Russell Group. Now, I talked earlier about the personal statement. What is the personal statement? Well, the personal statement is basically your ticket to university, right? Because you've got to think that if you're applying to any particular university, Everybody else who's applying to that particular university will be applying with the same grades as you. So you can't rely on your grades to distinguish yourself from somebody else who deserves that place less than you do. And that's where the personal statement comes in. So I told you earlier it was 4,000 words. That's 4,000 words. That's 4,000 words on the joy of real estate. So it needs to be convincing, all right? Because what this is that this is a door on your mind. What you're doing is you're accosting the applications person and you're saying, this is how I think. Look at this, it's amazing. This is how I think. And this is my commitment as well to the subject. This is why, real estate is what gets me up in the morning. That's really, really exciting. And not just that, it's also why I want to go to university rather than going off to get a job. Now, this is particularly something that comes up again and again and again with applications to business studies or real estate or rural management or something like that, where people write a long, long list about how much they love real estate or business or farming. To which the answer is, well, why are you going to university? All right, why don't you just go and get a job? So within this application has got to be some sort of commitment to university as well as the subject. So commitment to learning. I'm not going to go to university and drop out and thereby deny the university 2 years of funding. And it could have gone to somebody who stayed there. I really want to go there and I want to finish this particular course. And then other attractive qualities, well, to be brutally honest, we're looking at, and this pen isn't working, I don't know why I'm even touching it, we're looking at maybe 3 or 4 lines at the bottom of your application. The rest of it is explained in much more detail in videos on my website. This is going to be about an hour anyway, so I'm not going to go into that right now. So do please look at the other stuff on the other videos and make sure you're happy. Speak to your tutor, speak to me, and we'll get the personal statement up and going. One thing while we're doing it, be wary of quotes. Don't have huge, great quotations in your personal statements. Chomsky is not applying for university. He's done that. All right. What we're interested in is finding what you think, not how well you can quote some authority. Right, so the reference. I'd like to say we're quite good at this bit. Actually, hang on a second. To hell with false modesty. We are very, very good at this, all right? We will do what has to be done in this reference as long as it is not blatant lying. We're not going to go in and lie on your behalf. But what we will do is that we'll explain why anybody should believe what's written in your personal statement. And what we'll also do here is we'll pick up on a lot of the stuff that you weren't able to put into your school your personal statement, because your personal statement is this big commitment to learning thing. What we can do in here is we can explain, look, well, these guys are cracking. They've done this, and this. They won this prize, that prize, the next prize. They help old ladies across the road. They fight sharks. Whatever it is they do that's not perhaps covered in your personal statement, we can cover this. And what I think you should do, and this is a really, really good technique, is that you should sit down with your tutor and, once you've got a good idea of what your personal statement is going to say, you have to say to your tutor, look, I want all of this to be in my reference, please. Because there's all of this other good stuff and I can't get it in here. Can you please get it into the reference? And if it's pertinent and helpful, then we will put it in. If it's the 4th form Latin competition, not that I'm picking on Latin, I didn't mean to, but if it's 4th form Latin prize, then that's probably not going to be relevant to the application. If it's the fact that once upon a time you did a good thing, maybe that's relevant, maybe it's not. So we will get in here what's relevant, but we know what we're doing with this, so you have to trust us on this. These are absolutely brilliant. We sweat blood over them, and we make sure that they are exactly what you need. So they back up what you've been saying in your personal statement. They bring in anything else that you couldn't get into your personal statement that you want in. We'll get it in there if it's going to be helpful. And again, it's another 4,000 characters. And again, that's what 4,000 characters looks like. Okay. UCAS grades. No, these are not predicted grades. These are not what we think you will get. These are what we hope you will get. These are what we think you are capable of if all of your stars line up, if you have a good day, if everything is just going for you on this day. This is the best case scenario that we think you're going to get. It says predicted grades on the form. These are not predicted grades. It's a game we play with the universities. They know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. And here's another thing. We're also very, very good at it. And we have got a reputation now within the university environment for delivering accurate grades. So please, please, please do not ask us to exaggerate or embellish these grades unless there's a very, very good reason why you think you might be getting those particular grades. Our reputation here is hard won. And this is particularly the case if we're looking at places like Oxbridge, medical schools, and 2 more, LSE and Imperial College, all right? We're seeing a lot of good results now coming through, particularly in LSE, and that's a consequence of the quality of the school reference that we're offering and the accuracy of our grades. Oh yeah, and the caliber of the candidates as well. But we need to be careful that we do not sell ourselves cheaply. We have got a reputation for having accurate UCAS grades. That could go very, very quickly, and that will not affect you, but that will echo down through various future generations of applicants, and we don't want to do that, okay? So please don't put us in a position where we are presenting UCAS grades that are unrealistic. Quite apart from anything else, they might get you into a university and you'll find that you're perhaps a little bit out of your depth. You know, these grades are not there out of spite. They're there to make sure that we have the right people applying to the right type of courses for them, okay? So if the grade threshold is A star AA, that is going to be taught at a level for A star AA students. And if you're not an A star AA student, it's not going to be a barrel of laughs. So let's just be sensible, realistic, and pragmatic. We will give you the grades that will help you get to the university that's right for you, not that's wrong for you. So this is the historical model. We're going to stick with this, okay? Because the exam results that come out of the mocks will be fair across the entire board. They're going to be consistent across all of you Stoics. And I don't see any reason why you people should not work according to the same principle as everybody else. I know it's been a hell of a year. I fully understand that. But basically, that will be taken into account when we look at the grade boundaries, because what we want to do is to try to get a level playing field as best as we possibly can. So this is what we have arrived at through heuristic process, through historical analysis. We haven't just pulled these out of the thin air. What we've found is that people who've got these grades in their, these grades in their mock tended to get these grades in the final analysis. And I don't see any reason why particularly that's going to change. Maybe we'll look at it again, see if there is any refinement we can bring to the model, but I'm going to stick with this for the time being. So these year-end exams do matter. Apart from anything else, you know, you've worked hard across the year, you want to have some good results to show for it. And I don't really want to say much more about that. If anyone's got any specific questions, then please do come and tell me. Futures Week, this is coming up. This is after those exams, and we've got some great stuff up here. Some really, really interesting, challenging material up there. And perhaps most importantly, it's not being delivered by us. It's not being delivered by me or Dr. West or Miss Gunther-Jones, whatever our various qualities are. What we've got in, we've got people who really know what they're talking about. So they can come in and give you a very, very good idea of the landscape, what is out there. So this is after your exams. I know that some of you might be away doing stuff. All of the stuff will be recorded by people who actually know what they're doing rather than me, and that will then be available for you on wide demand. Right then, so again, I think we kind of went through this out on the shivering field. Let's talk about what you should be doing, firming up your choices, courses, lead universities, don't forget that. And looking at all of those resources, Unifrog, Ask a Stoic, I mentioned this before, we've got contacts doing all of these degrees at all of these places. If you find something that's not covered, let me know and I'll chase it up. We'll try to get some of these gaps filled. So that's out there, I'm very pleased with that. Also the UCAS Hub, which we've mentioned, and my videos, here we go, like and subscribe, clicks means cash. So all of this stuff is out there for you. UCAS, opening a UCAS account done, UCAS form, opening a UCAS account. But then over here, we've got, well, somewhere out there, I've got personal statements. I'll make sure I link off on that. What was that haircut? Anyway, so use those videos. I'll make sure I linked off to that. As I said, the year-end exams really do matter. But most of all, let's knock out that personal side of the UCAS form before half term. That's just going to be such a relief for everybody if we can just cross that one off the list and move on to the more challenging things. So, UCAS application, we know all about that, and let's get the tedious admin out of the way. Half term, I've already said this to you, so I don't really want to do it again. It's not just about you. It might not be your fault you catch COVID, but it might be your fault if you pass it on. So please, 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 let's just be sensible, and that's it. Again, sorry about the false start. Hopefully that's clarified everything. Hopefully that's given you lots to think about and to work on. Let's get these personal details finished by half term. Everybody's doing this, whether you think you're applying this year or not, I don't care. Nobody is finishing without that side of the application done. And I'm done. Thank you very much. Again, let me know what you think. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.